Honorable judges and fellow debaters, we are proud to affirm the resolution. We support abolishing academic portfolios and implementing foundation programs, which have been successfully conducted in England and received positive feedback. Contention 1. Academic portfolios increase student stress. First, according to a survey which found that more than 80% of senior high school students under the 108 syllabus feel stressed. The primary source of stress was creating academic portfolios. Thus, we can conclude that academic portfolios make students feel stressed. Academic portfolios place excessive pressure on students. It can lower students' performance in learning and focusing, leading to mental stress that affects their psychological health. The foundation programming can help alleviate this problem. First, compared to high school, where students must plan their academic portfolio independently, the foundation program is designed to help students successfully transition into the undergraduate, which is or other higher education programs by offering a variety of subjects that support their intended university degree. It helps students adapt more efficiently to university courses. Second, upon complementing the foundation program, students can directly advance to their corresponding degree program. It provides an alternative pathway to higher education, reducing the pressure of relying solely on single exam. Finally, the program includes academic skills, researching techniques, and critical thinking, allowing students to familiarize themselves with university learning, which is led by professions before officially enrolling, thereby easing the transition into their first year. Contention 2. Students lack motivation to upload academic portfolios. According to an analysis of medium-sized comprehensive high schools by Chen Yinian and Lin Yijun in 2021, 20% of students did not upload any academic achievements for the 108 academic year, while 35% didn't upload any work-based performance. This reflects a lack of motivation or perceived value in maintaining and sharing these portfolios among students. As a result, some students may lack academic portfolios. At the same time, they may also lack the grades they once had because the class designed to teach them how to create academic portfolios fails to improve their abilities effectively. Therefore, the academic portfolio need to be abolished. In contrast, the foundation program only requires students to complete a fixed set of academic courses provided by the program, avoiding excessive competition and uncertainty, and allowing them to focus solely on the studies they are interested in. Additionally, students attending classes at the university can become familiar with the course's structure and develop essential skills, such as research techniques and time management. At the same time, these benefits prevent overwhelming challenges after enrollment. Contention 3. The disparity in learning resources between disadvantaged rural students and elite urban school students causes unfairness in academic portfolios. The gap in learning sources between disadvantaged rural students and elite urban school students create inequality in academic portfolio. According to data from the Department of Teacher and Art Education, 2.26% of teachers in Taipei City have doctoral degree, while only 0.58% in Linji County. This means that there is a big difference in teacher qualification between urban and rural areas. This difference makes it difficult for rural students to produce finished projects comparable to those of urban students. This results in urban students having access to teachers with higher credentials than those available to rural students, and even when both groups have the same abilities, and this will make it difficult for rural students to compete with urban students. In contrast, according to the Ministry of Finance, there is a tax surplus of 528.3 billion NT dollars, which can be used as a funding source of the foundation program. According to these 3 points, we absolutely support the abolishment of academic portfolios.
information.
哦，资讯。
Examination, 3 minutes.
Okay, you talk about stress, right? But can I make sure that stress is actually complex and influenced by a lot of factors?
Yes, and we also have evidence about when it comes to the stress of academic portfolio, it is a big percentage of stress.
So can you show me the evidence?
Like this.
I'll give you later. And moving on to that, how can you ensure that stress always leads to bad performance instead of good performance? Because actually stress can make people like strive better, right?
Like do you have evidence about which amount of stress can be?
No, I'm not asking you because this is my time.
Okay.
So can you prove that stress can always lead to bad performance?
Excessive stress can lead to bad performance.
Like, do you have evidence on that?
Like about suicide death. The students suicide rate is rising between the 2017 and 2023. The number of people who is 15 to 24 years old suicides went from 193 to.
Okay. So how can you make sure that those suicides are actually caused by stress and caused by academic portfolios?
Since we provide first about the stress is excessive, second about the stress, the student stress. There is a high percentage related to academic portfolio.
Okay. Then I want to ask that is your foundation program is all about study? Because you mentioned that your students is going to advance into the college and they are going to study there.
It's about studying in your subject that you're interested in.
Yeah. So can I make sure that there's no any diverse performance related? Like they don't have to participate in competitions.
Not actually, because students can still choose what they are interested in.
So I mean that your foundation program only involves study, right?
Right.
Okay. Then I want to ask that your side is going to ask students to select specific department before they join the university foundation program, right?
Right.
Okay. Then how do you make sure that these students will not lose their passion or lose their interest in the middle and they need to give up that department?
While they want to attend this project, they may have they are desire to join this project.
So you're not recruiting every student to join this project, right? Do you mean by that?
You say the most
Like,
important.
do you agree that your foundation program is not going to having all of the students to join?
The students that are interested in this project will join.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I agree.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Did you count your time? 1 minute.
1 minute 要开场。
Yeah.
有这边有。
我有记。
自己也要记呀。
对，我们有时候是20分钟，2小时，或是那个历史必须去。你不是说你看过你的稿吗？我们打工同事听过很多。啊，都在搞。
Empty first divider constructed each 5 minutes. Starts now.
We are proud to negate the resolution. I will provide further classes to the affirmative arguments and their proposed need to change later. Now the negative team will present the status quo first. Contention 1. Academic portfolios assist students in interest exploration and future planning. Academic portfolios provide a structured framework for students to document and reflect on their learning journeys, facilitating the exploration of their interests and passions. According to research by Master Lowe from the National Taiwan Normal University in 24, quote, There is a strong correlation between academic portfolios and increased learning motivation. Portfolios help clarify students' learning goals, fostering motivation to pursue further academic and career paths. Furthermore, academic portfolios significantly contribute to future planning. A survey conducted by Ben+Wade at National Jinan University in 2023, involving over 600 students, found that portfolios help career planning. He stated, quote, "The more students engage in the creation and development of their academic portfolios, the more effective these portfolios are at predicting their future career choices." The impact of academic portfolio is that they provide students with ample time to reflect on their personal development and career goals. Without portfolios, students may face significant confusion in their academic careers, especially in high school, where many students struggle to determine their academic and professional paths. Abolishing them will likely exacerbate the challenges students already face, making them more uncertain and less prepared to navigate their futures effectively. And their affirmative one also tell you that these students have to decide their department before going into the foundation program. So that's absolutely ridiculous. If these students drop out or lose passion in the middle, then how can they do? How can they solve the problem? Contingent to it, academic portfolios enhance students' literacy abilities. Academic portfolios play a fundamental role in the development of students' literacy and cognitive skills. While there are various other methods to enhance literacy abilities, portfolios serve as a comprehensive record of students' growth, enabling professors to keep track and validate the acquisition of specific skills. In a survey by Professor Lin from National Taiwan University in 2024, involving over 3,000 students, it was found that more than 60% of students believe that academic portfolios help develop their literacy skills. Remarkably, 90% of students reported learning at least one literacy skill through the portfolio process. These skills are not only crucial for academic success, but also for navigating daily life. The impact is that portfolios enable students to acquire critical skills, such as distinguishing between reliable and unreliable sources, analyzing complex social issues, and express themselves more clearly. In our modern era, where information overload is a significant challenge, these skills are indispensable. However, these skills cannot be developed overnight, right? The portfolio system provides students with a structured, gradual process to enhance these skills over time. In terms of time frame, eliminating this system will hinder students' intellectual development, eventually causing more harm than good. Even if you believe in their foundation program, however, their affirmative have admitted that their plan is all about study. So how can their plan help students to develop their critical skills? How can they to overcome the information overload challenge in current era? Contention 3 is academic portfolios benefit universities by providing a holistic view of students. Academic portfolios offer a comprehensive and authentic view of a student's academic journey, providing valuable insights beyond traditional grades and test scores. They allow universities to assess students' capabilities, achievements, and personal development over time. A 2022 survey by United Daily News involving over 500 teachers and professors revealed that 56.7% of university professors supported academic portfolios. Professors appreciate that portfolios enhance authenticity by showcasing student genuine progress, rather than relying on last-minute cramming or on superficial applications that fail to reflect on a student's true abilities. Portfolios enable professors to evaluate a student's overall potential and attributes in a more holistic way. And the impact of this is that academic portfolios not only help students prepare their materials for college admission in a thoughtful and organized manner, but also enable universities to select students who are better fit for their departments. I still got 1 minute, so I'm going to rebut their first contention, which is about stress contention. First, stress in fact comes from numerous sources and is a complex phenomenon. Their affirmative can explain that it is all about academic portfolios that leads to the rise of suicide rates. It could involve family, friendship, study, environment, etc., according to the Mental Health Foundation in 2024. Blaming solely on portfolios actually involves a false causation fallacy, which puts the causes and results in a wrong order. Second, there 80% evidence couldn't indicate that it's solely because of portfolios, right? The research ignores the complexity of stress and has an invalid setting as its question for students. Even if you don't buy this, then stress is still a subjective feeling. Quantifying it may involve inconsistency from every individual. Third, they never tell you why stress can lead to bad performance, right? In fact, stress is good for students according to a theory called Dawson law. Quote, individuals tend to perform better when experiencing appropriate stress. Thank you.
Cross-examination, 3 minutes. Starts now.
Okay, the academic ensure whether the benefit of academic portfolio and career planning translate to transferable success years later, such as better career satisfaction or progression.
We already tell you that there are professors that appreciate this record that can help students to navigate through their career path and also help them to find their interest. And that could also translate into future progress because they are, yeah.
And also, okay, so you don't have evidence about how the interest progression and future planning benefits the career path, like maybe 5 years later, 10 years later, no survey.
Yeah, but because like this one-way curriculum is like only executing for like 3 years, and we don't have any data or analysis on
Okay, I
that.
see. You say that the academic portfolio can provide a holistic view. How to ensure that students will present holistic academic portfolios rather than a good part of themselves?
Then I think that that's everyone would do when they do this kind of academic flows. When you want to apply for a job, you also need to show your good part. Right? Nobody will show their disadvantaged areas, right?
So you confess when doing the academic portfolio, the students will the professors are likely to just see the good parts of it.
Yeah, they have to show their good part. Right?
Okay, so academic portfolio aren't the only way to help students explore their interest and future planning. Extracurricular activities can achieve the same effect. In this case, why do we need to spend a lot of time doing academic portfolios?
Yeah, so we are when we do academic portfolios, we are actually engaging in extracurricular activities, right? Because these students have to write their diverse performance, so they have to participate in this extracurricular activity. And in your foundation program, you only let students study, and that's why your plan has no solvency.
Right, and about you mentioned an evidence about 56.4% of professors think that academic portfolio is good, right?
Yes.
And actually the 56.4% is nearly 50%, a half. So does it mean just a half and another half agree and disagree?
I think that already means that a majority of professors already appreciate this, and I think that there's no need about just discussing on the data itself.
Okay, and you talked about the academic portfolio provides ample time for students to explore themselves. And do you have the specific amount of what counts as the ample time?
No, I don't think that could matter to this resolution.
Okay, so that's all.
Preparation time 1 minute. Starts now.
Did you count your time?
Your time.
Hurry up. Remember to do.
因为你们在上面不是看不是水
哦，这里。
哦，没什么。
Affirmative sentence debater, constructive speech, 5 minutes. Starts now.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, first I would like to extend our condition. About our condition 1, that academic portfolios increase student stress. Academic portfolios can use long-term stress. Students may feel overloaded by tasks like gathering information, tracking process, and showing what they have learned. The pressure can lead to extreme tiredness, lack of sleep, and emotional strain. Instead of continuous for a long time, students may have negative behavior, even suicide. So the negative thing Kate mentioned about the stress is complicated. That's right, but in our evidence, we clearly show that there are 76.1% of students' stress is from academic portfolios. And then functional programs overall effective alternative to stress of academic portfolios. compared to high school students who have to manage their portfolios independently, the foundation programs help students transition more smoothly into university studies. Like, although our plan is only for studies, but it's the way for your university studies. So it's not only for for cramming. It's for learning how to solve the problems, knowing more different knowledge to have deeper knowledge of this part. So the negative team keeps mentioning about that our plan for learning and just learn knowledge and nothing. But that's false because the way for learning is for college way. So it's for learn how to solve problem or literacy abilities. It's many abilities and many different things will be learned in our plan. And about the content too, that says students lack motivation to upload active portfolios. The lack of student participation in uploading academic achievement and motivating performance highlight a fundamental issue. Many students do not see value in maintaining these portfolios. And we do have evidence to show that there 20% and 35% didn't upload any portfolios. This data indicates that active portfolios may not effectively serve the intended purpose to reflect student learning progress and skills. Unlike traditional active portfolios, the foundation program offers a structured yet flexible approach to education by requiring students to complete a fixed set of courses. The program eliminates excessive competition and uncertainty. The student can concentrate on subjects relevant to their university studies, forcing deeper understanding and passion for chosen field. About our content 3, that the disparity in learning resources between disadvantaged rural students and elite urban rural students cause unfairness in academic portfolio. The gap in learning resources between rural and urban students creates inequality in academic portfolios and higher education admissions. Rural students often lack access to highly qualified teachers, advanced materials, and mentorship, making it harder to compete. Their portfolios may not appear weaker, not due to a lack of ability, but because of limited support. Programs like foundation programs can help bridge this divide by focusing on structure, coursework, and skill development, ensuring a fairer system for students from all backgrounds. Second, touching with negative condition. Answer to about interest exploration and future planning. While academic portfolios are often promoted as beneficial tools for interest accumulation and future planning, the effectiveness may not be as universal as impactful as suggested. The argument relies heavily on corrections identified in specific studies, which may not be representative for former student populations or diverse educational contexts. And then answer to academic portfolios enhance student literacy abilities. While academic portfolios are praised for enhanced literacy and cognitive skills by the outside, their effectiveness may not be as robust or universal applicable as this argument suggests. Also, literacy skills can be developed through various other methods that may be more engaging or effective for students. Academic portfolios are just one of many tools and should not be regarded as indispensable. And then answer to about the public view of students for professors. While academic portfolios may offer certain advantage in presenting a more detailed view of student academic generally, their overall effectiveness for universities may not be limited and not as holistic as claimed. And then finally, answer to the course definition and the negativity and then. So finally, as we the affirmative team, we support to abolish the academic portfolios.
Cross-examination, 3 minutes. Starts now.
Okay, let's prepare about your plan, right? Your first affirmative talks about that you're all about study, but
Yes.
how can you say that?
So study is for university courses.
Yeah. So how can other skills be cultivated through this process?
Yes, because doing the university course is different from senior high school, and it's more focused on the various little abilities field.
Can you give me some example of that these colleges like
So
foundation?
it's as I say, it's like university courses. So it will face projects to make a project or to have a survey. So it will learn
Okay,
abilities.
sure. Your foundation program is also about doing presentation, right? So how can you ensure that that would like reduce students like pressure?
Pressure, we pressure decrease because they are interested in and
But doing academic portfolios are also doing something they are interested in, so they are going to upload to something they are going to apply, the department they are going to apply, right?
actually that's right, but the funding program is different because the active portfolios although you do the active portfolios, you are not sure you will pass or not. But if you pass the function program, you can go straight to the directly university that the course you
Okay. So in your plan, I wonder how you can evaluate different students into different like foundation program, like which kind of students can get into National Taiwan University and which kind can get into like Changhua University.
But although that, but in of the West Gap, there are no region.
No.
without-
I'm asking you that how can you evaluate different students, different level of students during the process?
Level, but we believe the universities are all the same. They are equal. They have the equal resources.
Yeah, but I'm asking that how can we label different
So
students?
the university is not important. Which university you would go is not important.
I think that's really important for most of the high school students, because that would directly lead to their portfolios different. That would directly lead to their study differences in different colleges. So how can you evaluate?
That might be it. And so maybe we can set a system about the testing and to show or make a project to see the students' potential.
Sure. So your testing is about like writing.
Maybe it can depends on different subjects like physical education and biology. They are different, so they have different ways to choose students. It depends on difference.
Okay. So I think that's time. Thank you.
Preparation time 1 minute starts now.
Okay, time.
Yes, we have time.没有啊，我说它的重叠，有一个证据重叠高度过密，它这样就可以得到大部分结果就是会在过程中消灭有流程。
Initiative, student debater, constructive speech, 5 minutes starts now.
Vote for something that can empower future generations. Vote NAC. First, let's talk about cross-examination, right? In cross-examination, they have no direct plan on how can they evaluate different level of students to different college. And even though they tell you that they are going to do presentation to cultivate students' critical thinking abilities, however, that is similar to academic portfolios, right? Because these students will still have to do their files, these students will still have to do their documents, and that would increase their stress. Okay, second, clashing with their contention. I already tell you that there's stress contention, and that stress in fact comes from numerous sources, and also there's research on 80% ignore the complexity of stress. And also, I tell you that stress can also lead to good performance. And furthermore, let's talk about their plan. The foundation program has no solvency. The foundation program only involves study and lacks what portfolios have, which is competitions, certificates, service learning, and outstanding experiences. A student only involves study and lack diversity. It could inevitably narrow down student choices and amplify their stress on studies, proving that it didn't justify the need for change and have a solvency for the status quo. They tell you that portfolios force students to plan independently. However, their program does not eliminate the need for academic planning, right? It simply shifts the burden later in a student journey. Instead of learning to reflect and plan in high school, students are allowed to adapt under time pressure right before university, which can actually amplify stress, not reduce it. Even if you don't buy it, it's an independent thinking and essential skills in today's world. Moving on to answer their contention on low motivation. First, we still can blend fully on portfolios itself. The app doesn't mention the specific motivation. The lack of motivation may involve insufficient guidance or direction for their future. That's why portfolios emerge. As we stated that portfolios help students explore their interests and plan their future. So portfolios are actually the medicine to this issue. And their plan will not solve this issue because they force students to choose the department before the university, and they can't give up in the middle. So that's why their plan is not going to be the medicine to this issue. Moving on. Second, foundation program lacks numerous choices, but only steady knowledge in the academic field. Lack of choices could make some students without studying interests become even confused, and also make the majority of students lose the opportunity to try different things, which worsen the status quo and dissipate what we value now, which is diversity of students. Foundation program didn't increase motivation. This is misleading. Simply attending university-style classes does not guarantee internal motivation. It just places students in a new environment with preset courses. Unlike academic portfolios, which require personal reflection and goal setting, the foundation program offers a one-size-fits-all curriculum that doesn't necessarily align with a student's individual passions. Answer to their well-gap contention. First, as the Ministry of Education implemented the free iPad policy for every student from 22 to 25, even rural area students can get access to the internet. Thus, the wealth gap would not be a serious issue. Apart from that, several universities like National Taiwan University, Zhenji University, and Tsinghua University have given special quotas for rural and marginalized students. The issue has to be addressed. Second, even if you judges, you don't buy this. Students have to afford transportation and food fees to go to university to take part in a foundation program every week or month. The money spent on this far outweigh the cost for portfolios. Sure, even they'll tell you that they are going to have a tax surplus to make these students have money to pay for this. This statement has no uniqueness, right? Why are we going to invest on something which have no positive impact on our educational landscape? Something that make our students become sad animals. Something that lowers students' motivation. Those money could solve all the problems the app proposes. We can optimize portfolio system to lower stress, increase motivation, and most importantly, solve wealth gap problem. I don't want to see Taiwan education developing into a more standardized environment as people only focus on studying and become the same animals. Judges, I believe so do you. And moving on to their cross-examination. Their first affirmative can provide any link the suicide rates to academic portfolio stress. We believe that the suicide rate actually include adults and also other people, so that could not be a direct link to how they say that academic portfolios can lead to suicide rates. And also, moving on, they tell you that they lack motivation, and we already tell you that their plan is all about study, and they also agree on that. So it's not going to make students increase motivation when it is all about study. And moving on, we already tell you that although they have some dollars, some taxable surplus, however, we already tell you that those money could do something to make the academic portfolios be better, because we don't want those money to waste it on some projects that have any detailed plans. Thank you.
Cross-examinations, 3 minutes.
Also time.
And starts now.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that the founding of the supply text could be used on a portfolio, so to explain or just give me an example.
We believe that on your side, you have talked about that some students can get access to academic portfolios because they can get access to the internet. So we tell you that we can use the tax surplus to give them money to buy the iPad or to have better teacher resources.
Okay, so there is fact that many credit schools provide a service about selling complete portfolios. So how to ensure each portfolio is made from students, not credit school?
I don't think that's a big deal for this part, because on your side, I believe that foundation program couldn't solve this problem, since that on your test, you're also having these students to go to cram school and to study, right?
Okay, so as you mentioned in your first cultural speech, you mentioned about the literacies, abilities that academic portfolios enhance. So it will lead to academic success. So could you explain with a connection about literacy ability and academic success.
Okay, so I already tell you that academic portfolios can help students do presentation and to organize their learning journey, which can benefit for their critical thinking abilities. And critical thinking abilities is super like important in the status quo. So because we already tell you that in an era which is all about information overload and all about fake news, it's essential for them to equip these skills and to overcome the challenges in their future.
So, can you share your evidence about the card about the IP policy help to solve the risk gap?
I think my evidence card are there.
Sorry. As I know, for academic portfolio is students to participate in extracurricular and for interest exploration as well as they make academic portfolios. And so, as I know, for academic portfolios is after students participate in extracurricular and they find their interest and to make an academic portfolios.
Yes.
So if only participant in extracurricular can help interest exploration, so why do we need to make academic portfolios?
I don't think only extracurricular activities can help students include their interests, because when we're in school, we can also do some presentation to help students explore their interests. So that's why we tell you that this can actually minimize the wealth gap, because some of the students would not have they don't have to go out to experience some curricular activities, and they can just learning at school and do their portfolio at school. Okay, thank you.
Preparation time 1 minute starts now.
等一下很重要 rebuttal， 然后 but I have to leave。谁要去跟郭老师说？
没有说。
先去一个人去说，一个人去说。
不对啊，第一节不是，我印象中
不是第三节是
第
播。
三节播啊。
不是第四节。
对。
好，继续讲一下。
一个去讲一下。
因为原本以为会全
但你待会会跟他们讨论，你是第三节报告还是第四节？
应该是第四节。
啊，那你留着没关系，但是我要回去打。但是 rebuttal 很重要。
好。
威，刚刚的 flow 什么的，赶快想一下。
Mention first debater rebuttal. 3 minutes starts now.
As I have elaborated on how the affirmative team are and how marking valid, I will further describe how their plan could not remain our status quo. First, we mentioned portfolios that help interest exploration and future planning. Their plan of foundation program collapsed regarding this issue, as their program makes students only learn and ignore other important fields like competition, activities, service, and certificates that actually make students have no opportunity to explore their interests and merely learning academic stuff instead of understanding what their future career is like. Their plan can remain a status quo and even eliminate the advantage of the status quo. Second, we mentioned literacy abilities. Foundation program only involves academic abilities and talents instead of literacy abilities. Without presentation and process organization, students will have no opportunity to cultivate their literacy skills. We believe that academic abilities and knowledge that we learn in university will not be necessary as a high school students. Instead, students should enhance their literacy skills in the face of diverse homework in their college, like reports and presentations. Thus, their plan can maintain a status quo. Third, we mentioned how portfolios give universities a holistic view of students. Under foundation program, tests and sports and academic performances will definitely not be able to showcase individual capabilities and characteristics. Instead, universities can only judge on students' performance in studies and can discover the diverse potential of students. Therefore, their plan will make it hard to choose the suitable students, worsening the status quo. From these two speeches, we can conclude that, first, the opponent plan lacks detail and they have no solvency in their plan. They can't either solve the problems that they propose and they can't even make our status quo be better, which means that their plan could not solve anything. Second, their harm doesn't matter and even invalid. We already told that stress is come from a lot of sources. And even though you don't buy this, then their program are actually making stress higher. Moving on, they tell you the lack of motivation, but we already tell you that this kind of their foundation program is all about study. So that would like making students decrease their motivation, right? Moving on, even though you still believe that there is a disparity in learning, however, or they already tell you a plan that they are going to donate money into these rural areas. However, in our plan, we can also do so. We can also help those students in rural areas to have better resources, to have better internet for their academic goals. Why are we going to waste money on something that we would not have any result, on something that could not help the students will be better? How can we like waste money on something that making students lose their motivation and even increase their stress? We believe that we are not going to make education to make every student to be the same animals. So that's why we're super proud to negate the resolution. Thank you.
Preparation time 4 minutes. Starts now.
北昌可能要跟他们讲说，如果你是这边，你回答他们这样的问题是什么？中午你要跟我讨论吗？
中午应该会自己
你没有学要下来听。
检讨一下。
Affirmative first debater rebuttal 2 minutes. Starts now.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, me, the first debater, will do two parts in this rebuttal. First, I'll talk about our contentions, and second, I will answer to the negative side second debater argument. So first, our first contention is about the stress, and we claim that with excessive stress, students will feel that it will lower their performance and to affect their mental health. And while they talked about that we don't have evidence to relate the excessive stress to the academic portfolio, we do, and we provide evidence card for them, and they didn't read about it. Actually, we stated about the survey found of the more than 80% of senior high school students under 108 syllabus feel stressed. And the first source of the stress is creating academic portfolio, which is 76.1%, and didn't answer to it. And second, they talked about no increased motivation, no study, and no diversity. Actually, what we are talking about no diversity is in the part that we're doing, because there's no need to edit academic portfolio first. But when it comes to the foundation program, when we are doing in a subject, we can have diversity subjects like maybe art, maybe music or others. And second, we talk about the less motivation, and they didn't crash to our contention. And contention 2, we talk about the wealth gap contention. They talk about iPad, finance, and some programs can solve this problem. But actually, they didn't provide actual results. They just talk about the solution that governments now are conducting. And as you see, the status quo isn't changing. There's also wealth gap, and the unfairness lasts also. And they are talking about the foundation programming produce wealth gap because the high cost. Actually, this causes the false causation fallacy, because the wealth gap is not only about finance, it's also about the difference between the information. So while you're conducting the academic portfolio, we need information about how can I edit the academic portfolio. And in foundation program, students only need to require to how to go to the college and which college and which subject that they are interested in. And also they say that we have no advantage in the height in the solvency. This is nonsense because our solvency, our advantage height in the solvency. Like we talked about the holistic view, we can do better. We can.
Preparation time 1 minute starts now. Narrative Senate debater rebuttal 3 minutes starts now.
Okay. Although the debater just now they say that they are going to include music into their foundation program. However, that is brought out later on because they only stated that they are going to have study. They have to only have physical education. They are only going to have biology in the very first beginning. So this statement is brought up later. So we believe that that is not valid in today's debate because we don't have any time to rebut on that. So we believe that that is not allowed in today's tournament. And moving on, they say that our statement of that they have no solvency is nonsense. However, they can't even say anything about how their foundation program is going to solve the status quo. They are not going to tell you that how this foundation program can help professors have a holistic view. They are not going to detail that. They never talk about that. Even though we tell you that these kind of study will only increase motivation. However, they never rebut on that. They never rebut that their foundation program, the study can help students increase their motivation and decrease their stress, and also to minimize the wealth gap. We believe that we didn't hear about that. And also, moving on, even though they tell you that they have tax surplus, however, we already tell you that their tax surplus couldn't solve the status quo because the tax surplus are actually more worth of investing in our academic portfolios. Because on their side, they have no any qualification to be investors because they don't have any detailed plan. They didn't have any standards to evaluate different students to get into different schools, and also they don't have any future plan on how these students can cultivate their critical thinking abilities when they get into the foundation program. So we have successfully clashed with their need for change, right? We tell you that their need for change does not matter or is not true. Even if you don't buy this part, then we still tell you that their plan couldn't match the need for change. Second, we compare our quiz to theirs. Now, looking for a larger scale, right? Even though our portfolios do have the harm, like they say, we still have 3 advantages on the 4 that they failed to rebut. However, their plan has no advantage and even worsens the several status quo contentions on the 4. They increase stress, they decrease motivation, they amplifies the wealth gap. So judge, I don't want to see Taiwan education developing into a more standardized environment as people only focus on study and become the same animal. Judges, I believe that, so do you. We don't want to see the future is that all people is going to study and have no emotion and have no diverse skills. So then I believe that judge, you should vote con because you should vote nag because you don't have any excuses to vote for affirmative to waste money on their plan. So vote nag if you want to see future generation thriving. Thank you.
Preparation time 1 minute starts now. The second debater rebuttal 3 minutes. Starts now.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, throughout this debate, my opponents had some serious mistakes, making them lose the round. First, we highlighted that academic portfolios can cause significant stress for students, and we do have evidence to show that in there are 76.1% of students' stress is from academic portfolios, but they keep mentioning that stress is complicated. And the stress from academic portfolios is undeniable stress, but the negative team fails to demonstrate why the stress is beneficial, and we successfully proved that the stress causes negative effects on teenagers. And second, we address the lack of motivation among students, a point that remains valid, and the negative team did not do any meaningful splurge on that. And they just mentioned about our plan will reduce the passion, but that's not right because we do have to show that the pass rate is high in our plan in England, and also conducting in Taiwan it will smoothly to replace the active portfolios. And third, we point out that West Gap causes unfairness of active portfolios, a reality that cannot be ignored. But after my opposites mentioned about the IB policy to the rural and urban areas, they keep remembering that after the IB policy, the problem is not important. But they fail to prove that what unfairness doesn't matter. However, the affirmative team do have evidence and constructive arguments to indicate that the unfairness is important and should be solved as soon as possible. And as the opposite mentioned that our plan will worsen the status quo. That's not true because first, as the stress, because they are interested in it, they will reduce the stress by not to manage their portfolios independently. And then about the less motivation, and it's also the goal straight to the less university will motivate students, and that's due to the fact. And finally about holistic view, and because the courses provided by the university and the lecturer is the professor, so the professors could observe the student face to face in a short distance, so it could provide more holistic view than the academic portfolios. In conclusion, we expose the weakness in their arguments while showing the strength for our proposal. It's evident that the affirmative side offers a better plan than academic portfolios. Judges, the choice is clear, both of us and the Taiwan education system will be better after the academic portfolios be abolished.
结束。
我再考虑一下啊，直接不讲。没有说到的FAQ出来的。
实际上你的 rebuttal 是自己想的。
我有些是你们就是自己写的。
因为我们那时候的 rebuttal one 是根据大家的建议，他说因为二辩解，因为二辩申论和一辩解辩是连在一起，所以他建议说我们把最重要的论点全部交给那个一辩的人去讲，然后他会讲得很清楚，然后也有因果关系跟重要性。那
一边要反方的东西啊。
然后如果是二辩，就是做除了那个最重要论点以外的其他所有东西。
哇哦，你不是还要去听那个生物？
我没差了啦，不要听了啦。
所以你想要干嘛？
检讨，就说要检讨的。
我的早餐一口都还没动啊。
你这一局书最重要的是一点就是 study， 你回来那个 study。
你那个我上面也太死，那个我的 constructive speech 有一半就补他 study 啊。
这太严重。
你当时候不要承认哦。
我知道，我不会。
然后你真的不要搞，他不是只有 study。但是蛮会抽头发，好像是抠拍的跟我说，英国新加坡有一个叫预科课程的东西，蛮不错，拿来用，把它翻译是英国。
那个 Jenny 考一 B 选是我写的，他说我的论点，然后
这样如果就是我们给 evidence card， 它的形式是正确的，就是直接给你。对。所以是我们这样也收。对。好。
我建议要分页，
就是一张一页放一张。
一张放一页。
他们的那时候在意也是可以。
没关系啊，在意嘛。我们 对，还有很厚一包纸啊。
是啊，